calling you, Lord. I'm too young to just hang around, too proud to be your fool. You said no thank you when I tried to get.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another series of the Regional Fishing Report. You know, watching that intro, Grant, I got excited because we haven't gone fishing in a while. We need to get back out in the water pretty soon when the temperatures aren't scorching, hopefully soon. Anyway, we have special guest, Captain Walleye Pete, local charterman, fisherman. How are you?
I'm good. Hanging
Where are
in
you
there.
right now?
I'm on vacation. I fished all but 2 days in the month of July, and now I'm up in upstate New York visiting family. And I'm on a farm. I'm, a big property out here. My brother-in-law and sister live here, and I've been coming up here since I was a kid, and it's beautiful. And so I'm happy to chat from up here with the horseflies flying.
Oh, well, we appreciate you. Thanks for sweating it out for us here. And I'm happy you were on vacation. Right on. You work so hard.
Hey, I'll tell you what. Getting up at 3:30 every day in the summer, it's no picnic. But you know what? I love every second of it, and I still do. What's wrong with me, lady? See, tell me. I did trip 4,181 yesterday, and I still love it. So what's wrong with me? Help me out.
I know we all got an addiction. We need to get checked out. I mean, I'm a counselor, so I'll probably have to find my own counselor. I need help.
Oh, what's wrong with me? Come on, help me out. My drug of choice is a bent stick, by the way.
Say again?
My drug of choice is a bent stick.
Always, always. Well, I'd love to dive right in. And you're not doing any charters on vacation, are you?
I am not, no.
Okay, good. All right, awesome. So before your vacation, can you tell us what was going on in the Bay?
Yeah, I sure can. The month of July is the time when I worry a little bit. We got to go real early in the morning.
Yeah.
The starts to get to be over 80 degrees in the shallow water, and I don't chum, I don't troll, and I fish skinny, and I stay away from boats, and I love every second of that. But I worry a little in July that it could be difficult. This July has been insanely good, very shallow and very remote, and always by myself. And if I'm not by myself, I move. So that's I've been fishing skinny, 3 to 5 feet of water, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. But I've been getting stripers too. I had one a week ago that was before the season ended there for stripers, 32-incher. I've been getting a lot of, I wouldn't say a lot of specs, but a good chunk of specs. It's been good. So I cannot complain about the fishing. It's been good for me in July, and I'm happy.
Yes, I think it's always good for you when you're on the water.
Hey,
yes, very fortunate. So, yep. I saw some of the photos of the striped bass that you pulled out before the season shut down. Good size fish. Yeah.
And the numbers were pretty good. Typically what I see in the summer, once the water gets above 75 and then above 80, the numbers dwindle, but the quality, sometimes there's a bunch of them in spots, but not as consistently in numbers as there are when the water's below 70. When it's below 70, 60 to 70, it's insanely good. But the fishing report lately, pretty doggone good for what I'm doing in the summer. And the spec fishing has been, numbers wise, I've had a lot better years, but I cannot complain. I'm catching specs just about every trip, and I've had a 32-incher and a 30-incher this year. So that's mammoths.
That's beautiful. I'd like to talk a moment about the temperature, though. Right now, and I don't know if you're experiencing this where you are, it is very hot.
Yep.
We've been getting warnings to stay indoors. Today was definitely a hot one. How does that impact water temperature and your fishing experience?
Well, if it's sunny in the summer, this time of year, I'll tell you what, it's critical. I go real early. I leave the dock before sunrise, and I get to the spots I want to start fishing at before the sun is up. So it's cooler then. It is not stifling hot. And stripers and specks are definitely active at that time for me this year early. I just had a fish the other day right at sunrise. It was like a 25-inch spec, just a beautiful fish. So when the sun gets up, though, the decent stripers disappear.
Mm-hmm.
Specks, we still catch specks in the sun. But the problem is there's not that many specks. So I have to cover a lot of ground. I know exactly where they should be on these structures and these places I fish. So I work those areas fast and furious, and I cover as much as I can. And once in a while, by God, I trip over them. So that's what I'm doing. The heat is not great in the middle of the day for our fishing, but if you find specks in the heat, they'll hit. Bluefish in the middle of the bay, they're breaking. They don't care how hot it is. And then the giant redfish, they're the same way. They'll be out there too. The giant reds have just started to come up, but if you want to bring that up or whatever you want me to say about that, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I actually was going to bring that up. So what's going on with the reds right now?
Well, the reds this year, I have not caught one in Maryland yet. Well, I take that back. I hooked 4 of them in May, but that was when they were on the first full moon in May. They were eating crabs in the Honga and in the upper Tangier Sound, and I tripped over a few then. But right now, the summer gig, they start to show up in big schools, and if they come up on the top, it's heaven on earth. But that just doesn't happen that much. So I don't ever go out there depending on breaking redfish, because if I did that, I'd be successful about 1 out of every 10 trips or more. I mean, that's a difficult gig. So what I do, now there's guys that go look for them and they're successful with it. But what I do is locate schools of fish, i.e. blues, max, stripers up to the north when the stripers aren't down to the south, like out of Point Lookout. They're just in schools of them. But up north out of the chop tank, the little chop tank, Trip Bay, the False Channel region, all up in that region, over 20 feet of water, there could be giant reds. And if there's schools of breaking fish, there could be reds with them. So I look for that kind of stuff, and I'll work hard with metal or plastics, skirted GI jig heads. Big old eyeballed GI jig heads are pretty. I mean, if I almost want to eat those things, but anyway, by the way, with a 6-inch BK or 10, but 6 inches will catch them along with everything else. So anyway, the giant reds have shown, but they're not easy. They're scattered from Lookout up to the chop tank, for God's sakes.
Wow.
So you just got to get a little lucky with those.
For sure. How about stingrays? Do they migrate with stingrays? Do they kind of work with them? Do stingrays stir things up and kind of attract them?
Good point. In Florida, well, I'm not in Florida now, but in Florida, if I saw a ray in shallow, there was usually a cobia with it. I didn't see reds in there, but I don't see why they wouldn't be. Now, up here, it's not something I look for, because when the cownose rays are in shallow, typically the reds or cobia aren't here yet.
Okay. In
the open bay, you definitely could see a cobia with some rays, that's for sure. Or turtle. If you ever see a loggerhead turtle out there, look at the turtle. It's cool, but there also could be some cobia with it. But my main gig with the cobia in the summer is I fish a lot of structure. I fish deeper structure, and I caught about 40 cobia last year, and I don't fish for them all that much, but I did catch 40 of them, and it was on structure. I didn't sight fish one of them. I caught them on structure with a GI jig head, a skirted 6-inch BKD chartreuse. And I just worked the structures, and I did see them on side image. That's how I found them. I saw big critters on the side image, and daggone it if I didn't get lucky last year and caught several of them doing that. And also that's how I catch reds a lot too, is side imaging, in 20 to 40 feet of water. And if I dial that side image out to, 250, 300 feet out to the sides, and daggone it if I don't locate them sometimes. So anyway, they're here. They're not easy. And you know what is good? A lot of guys, if they go out there and they work as a team out there, there's a great chance to find reds when you spread guys out. I don't do it, but I think it's a good thing to do, and guys can locate the reds. And then once they're located, guys can work on them. And again, when you find those fish, it's amazing. I've got some screenshots where I had my side imaging out 200 feet on each side. So that's 400 feet that I was covering, 400 feet. And it was 20 feet thick of fish as far out as my side imaging took me. So I was seeing 400 feet. That's over a football field and some change, and 20 feet thick of reds. When you see that, you could drop anything into that mix and get them to bite it if you wiggle it and make it look like an injured fish. So I always have, ounce and a half jig heads, with skirted with a BKD. And I also like to have a simple metal jig, like oh my gosh, what in the world is the name of that big metal jig? Not a stink silver, a diamond jig, a big old diamond jig. They look stupid. They don't look fancy. They're cheap. but they're 4 ounces. And if I throw that or drop that into redfish and jig it, they nail it real quick. But anyway, that's that.
Nice. So is this a record for you with cobia this year? Is this something different for
Oh,
you?
I didn't catch it this year. It was last year.
Last year. I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah. Any cobia. Well, I take that back. I saw a couple cobia this year. They're just starting to get into the Maryland waters. I mean, some guys may have caught some. I know there's been some caught, but I've been in the waters where the cobia could be, and I haven't. I'll be honest, I don't physically eyeball them. I don't have a tower, but I'm fishing for specks out there. I'm fishing for life. I look for life. And if I find life, a lot of times I can trip over cobia. So I use my side imaging. I don't sight fish. I'm not patient enough for that. So I'm just not patient enough. And the folks that fish with me over the last 20 years are spoiled on numbers. So cobia is not numbers for me, but they're out there. And last year I had a lot of them. And that was a record for me because I don't really fish for them. This year, I'm going to fish for them some, and then I'll, work on it from there.
Awesome. So just a quick question, because you mentioned diamond before. What's the difference from what you're using to this here? Can you see this clearly?
I'm trying to see it. Is that a surf? Oh, I see what you're talking about. Yeah. Those are really hot looking jigs, and I used some of those in Florida fishing for amberjack, and I know that they would work in our water. I just don't have any of those on hand. What is that called? What is that?
Yeah, it's all blue.
What is it?
It's at 60. I'm sorry, it's kind of worn out here. What is this one? I can't read this one.
2 ounce and it's called all blue.
Okay, it is all blue. Okay, so it's a 2 ounce all blue.
Yeah.
There.
That absolutely would work. How long is it? Because for the giant reds, they'll definitely take a big bait. Would you say that's 3 inches?
About 3 inches. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's big enough. I mean, if you get on any redfish, and also cobia will hit that. Last year I had cobia under the boat. It seemed like quite a few of them, and they wouldn't bite. But finally, we did catch some on metal last year also. So I've caught them on metal. But that metal does look great. There's no doubt about it. You put a metal down there, I don't care what metal it is, it imitates an injured bait fish. So if it flutters, you dig it up sharply, and then it flutters down, and the fish attacks it. I don't care what brand it is or even what color. I like silver. I'm not a big color guy. I've always joked and said lead is my favorite color. It's really not, but I'll joke and say it is, but it's not. I like white. I like chartreuse. This year, white's been a very good color on specs for me. Stripers eat every color. It doesn't matter as long as it's moving. It looks fishy. But anyway, that lure does look great.
Okay, cool. I'm going to keep it in my arsenal then. I'm a big fan of heavy metals. Have always been successful with heavy metals. Got my first Mac on a heavy metal. Like you said, striped bass. Heavy metal's a no-brainer.
Yeah. For your Mac, you threw it and ripped it fast, or what'd you do? Or were you vertical jigging?
I actually wasn't targeting mackerel at all. I was targeting striped bass. And I thought I got caught on something. So I kind of gave up. I'm like, great, I'm stuck. You've seen me when I got stuck. I'm like, whatever, I'm stuck. So I'm pulling it.
Mistake a fish for a snag.
Say again?
How could you mistake a fighting fish for a snag?
Oh, yeah. Grant was with me. He'll tell you. So I'm pulling it in. I'm like, it feels like it's not really fighting. And it was at the bottom. So I hit bottom. And I'm jigging, and I gave up because I thought I got something hooked somewhere, and I'm pulling it up. I'm like, wait a minute, that's not a striped bass. And this was when I first started fishing with Grant. So I said, what is this? It's a mackerel. I was like,
mackerel.
There's a lot of talk about mackerel. I didn't have much of a fight.
You fight so aggressively and fast. They swim fast. So I don't know. Well, but you know what? With fishing, I'm never shocked about anything. So. That's different. Hey, did you notice what shirt I'm wearing? Look at this.
Oh yeah, I love the shirt. Gee, is that the fishing shirt?
Yeah. I love the shirt. The fishing channel shirt. I love it. It's got great designs on it. It's comfortable. I wore it fishing one day I told myself I wasn't going to get it bloody, and I did not. But I was careful. But I like the shirt. It it keeps you cool.
Yes.
It's not a hot shirt, and yet it protects you from the sun. So I really like it. It's in my rotation.
Yes, I love that. Thank you. Yep, GI Jigs BKD and Grant's signature Rock the Bay on the back there. You know,
Yeah.
I've
Yep.
worn it in some pretty hot weather too,
Yeah.
and it's really hard for me to tolerate the heat. So it actually was really great. Oh, do we have a question?
No.
No? Okay.
All right.
Oh, okay. So this is where you can purchase your own The Fishing Channel shirt at our website, fishingchannel.net. Any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Thank you so much, Pete, for supporting us. Thank you so much. And we don't have any questions yet, do we? Oh, no questions. So we have Tim on. Hi, Tim. Anybody else on? Grant's on. Hi, Grant. Actually, we do have a question.
Uh-oh.
Hold on 1 second. From our studio audience. All right, up and coming fisherwoman here, Sabine, has a question for you.
What's that question?
For Pete.
How do you catch a bass?
How do I catch a bass?
Ooh.
Did she say bass?
Yes, she did.
Okay, a bass. Well, I am not a bass fisherman, but I will tell you that a bass is a predator just like a striped bass. So I would go to a pond where there's bass or a river, and I would love to throw a surface popper over grass beds or a frog in the lily pads.
Frog.
That kind of stuff right there. You know, that's what you do. You throw it where there's cover. Cover is wood that's in the water. Cover is grass that's in the grass, lily pads. So bass like to live in those areas. And if you imitate what they're eating, which is frogs and bait fish, then you can catch a bass. That's my answer on that one. It's an educated guess.
That's a brilliant educated guess. Are you satisfied with his answer to your question?
Yeah.
Cool. She's satisfied. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sabine. I love when we get questions from the studio audience. Okay. All right. We have another question from our studio audience. Grant wants to know, is it Spanish?
When does he expect Spanish mackerel?
Okay. Grant wants to know, when do you anticipate Spanish mackerel coming to the bay?
I got my first 2 Spanish mackerel yesterday.
Yesterday. Okay.
Yes. That was south. You know, that was in the Point Lookout region. So, you know, they're moving up. I know that a couple boats out of Solomon's picked some up. They probably ran south, but the fish are moving. They could be up to the chop tank in no time flat up that way. Yeah. So typically, you know, if I look back, you know, typically anytime in July, those fish show up. The water has, you know, with this hot water going, the water's definitely got to 80 degrees. So Spanish Max, along with those big reds, can be up there. And I do know, I'm quite certain there was a school up there far north. So, you know, they're there, but the Max are definitely around now. They're just, who knows? Here's the deal. With migratory fish, you never know how they're going to come up in numbers or exactly when they're going to come up. You got to go. You don't know unless you go. So, you know, I do know there's some out there, but I don't know how thick yet and, you know, how to go.
What did you catch them on?
We caught them on about a 1.5 ounce sting silver with a 1.5 ounce sting silver, kind of long and skinny one, imitates the silver side. Yeah. So any bait you use that imitates the silver side, I was my guys to sling them out, let them sink for a few seconds, and start ripping.
Awesome.
And we caught a couple along with bluefish. The bluefish were eating them too.
Yeah, I need a bluefish. I haven't caught one yet. So how about flounder?
I have not seen a flounder, although I will say, this is secondhand information. A guy that was on my boat said that him and his buddy went to the east side and fished a sharp ledge over there and caught several well undersized, like 12-inch flounder.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's across from Solomon's. I'm like, okay, maybe, because I used to catch a lot that size too, but then the next day you might catch big ones. So I might go try that one of these days.
Yeah, that's true. It was actually about this time last year when I was pier fishing, and I caught a small one and a pretty sizable one that was a keeper at the pier down here. So it's about the same time of the year. So that makes sense.
I caught one keeper flounder last year in, where was I? I was in South Marsh Island fishing a cut. So one keeper flounder. It was a shocker. It was like a 17-incher.
Nice.
I'd
Lovely.
love Flounder again, that's for sure.
Nice. Let me check real quick if we have any questions.
Oh, we do have some.
Oh, we have some questions. Can't catch them.
Here we do.
How about Tom? Tom Keys. What is the best way to book a trip with you early in September? You know, brilliant. Great question.
Yeah. If I have any, I'm not sure if I got any dates open right now in early September, but the way to book a trip with me at any time is to text me at my phone number, and that's 703-395-9955. And if you go to walleyePete.com or my Facebook Four Seasons Guide service, my number's in there. And if you text me, I answer text really good. Sometimes I miss some messages on Facebook. I might miss something on Instagram, but texting, I always answer those.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the best way to do it. And if you wanted a specific date, just ship me a time frame of dates and I'll give you the dates I've got available. Easy peasy.
Awesome. Yeah. So Tom, definitely book quick because booking with Pete fills up pretty fast.
Yeah, I think I've got some dates in early. So I think I got 7 and 8. No, that's 7, 8 August. Anyway, but he could text me and I'll give him dates immediately. So it's all good.
How about, are you still doing walk-ons?
I do walk-ons when I'm not booked. I'm booked all the time. So
That's
I
true.
do notice walk-ons. So if I get a cancel, like say somebody cancels for Saturday and now it's Wednesday, I would put up a walk-on trip. So, but that doesn't happen that much. I'm fortunately, I do long one trip a day. I don't do 2, and I do them, 8 to 9 hours, and I fillet everything. Blah blah blah. So I cannot fit 2 trips in a day. So I just do one full day adventure, 1 trip a day. That's what I do.
It's definitely adventure. I was able to go out with Captain Pete here, and it was definitely a fun adventure. You definitely learn a whole lot, and you will definitely get on some fish.
Well, hey, here's the one thing I liked about that trip with you. The only thing I would have liked better is if you caught that big speck that Grant caught. But the speck that you did catch, I like it when I'm wrong, when a fish gets caught. So I think I was telling you to cast to a specific zone, but you, like my wife would probably do, would cast to a different direction. And you cast to a different direction and caught a nice speck. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. I said, I have a feeling.
Oh.
I just was
So
going on.
You had a gut
Nothing
feeling.
logical at all.
Yeah. No, but you did a great job with that, by the way.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate everything you did for me on that trip. I definitely learned so much, and it gave me a new enthusiasm about being on the water, because I didn't realize, and I think I was still early on in my fishing career, where I was learning, so it was definitely very helpful. And we were actually going to try to get out with you again on my birthday again this year, but we had other plans, so
yeah.
But thank you. Okay, so Bob Pino with Hook Optics, one of our sponsors, has a question. Are the cobia on the rays in the bay like they are in the ocean?
Say that again.
Are the cobia on the rays in the bay, are they like how they are in the ocean?
I'm going to say that it's not quite as prevalent up here as it is in the ocean. There's a lot of rays way up in the bay, and you're not going to see cobia way up the bay. But I would say that if you're seeing rays, you definitely need to eyeball them. But I don't fish the ocean, so I don't know how. Is there a cobia on every ray? I don't know, but I think that definitely can happen because the cobia get on redfish too. If there's a school of reds, we caught doubles of cobia and reds last year because the cobia were with the reds. But anyway, with what he said, I don't know for sure. Although I do know that they're going to be around activity like that. They could be out of the Point Lookout region. Certainly, wherever they go up north, if there's a bunch of rays, definitely look around them for something long and cylindrical and brown instead of something with wings, because there's a good chance. I would absolutely look at it because they could be there.
Well, that was a good question. Great minds think alike. That's pretty much the same question I had for you earlier as well about the rays and attracted to that. So great question. Well, we're coming to the end of our show. Do you have any special words of wisdom you can share with us about anything about fishing before we let you this evening?
But I've been doing this a long time, and when I get out there and I'm not catching, I don't give up. I've never given up. And I try to think it through. If the water's muddy where I'm at, if the wind picks up, I'm always looking for the cleanest water. When I'm fishing shallow, out in the open bay, it's clean, unless there's a hurricane. But when I'm fishing the skinny water, I'm always looking for the cleanest water. And if I don't catch fish, I move quickly. So
Yeah.
look at the current. I read that current. When those fish aren't where I think they should be, I move. If they're there, they're going to eat. They're in that shallow water to eat. They're not there to tread water. They're there to eat. So I move a lot. I don't give up. And if the water's dirty, I'm going to go find clean stuff. So, that's a tip that I live by every single day.
I love it. All right. Oh, we have one more question. We could squeeze this one in if you have time.
Hey, sure.
Awesome. All right. So Shore Shop says, I'm sorry I'm late. It's okay. Have the number of speckled trout been lower around Bloodsworth, South Marsh?
Yeah, I would. And when he says lower, specks migrate. There's years when there's basically none. I've caught quite a few specks down there, but it's not a banner year whatsoever. So if he's not catching, then don't feel bad because I'm not catching down there either. That's why I've been fishing more to the north than I have to the south. Now I had 2 incredible days down that way this year. I had 40 specks in 2 days, and 17 of them were citations.
Right on.
But then the bite died. So.
Yeah.
So that was a great 2 days, but it wasn't consistent, reliable. So he could go fish those waters. You could go fish those waters today and catch nothing, and tomorrow it could fire up. You just got to keep giving it a shot. And wood, grass, sod banks with points with currents. You got to try all those things. Hard structure, rock piles, wrecks. Because they change patterns all the time. So I could be catching them great on hard structure, i.e. rocks or wrecks. And then they're gone, but then I go to a grass bed and hot damn, they're all in the grass. So you got to move around and you can't quit.
Right on. Well, we will leave everyone on those beautiful words of wisdom. Thank you so much for your time. I know this is a family vacation, so we really appreciate you very much. And hope you enjoy the rest of your vacation, looking to get out again fishing with you. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. Have a good night and fish on.
All right. See you. Thanks. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Young, just hang around. Too proud to be your fool.